The Chinese Room is actually a British developer, which initially struck me as weird and possibly racist, but then I thought, wait, it'd be even weirder if they were called the British Room. I'm trying to picture a British room and all I'm seeing is the waiting area of a grimy fish and chip shop, with a busted TV in the corner permanently tuned to an episode of Countdown. The Chinese Room has brought us such games as Dear Esther, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, and I played their new game, Still Wakes the Deep, because I wanted to see if they finally remembered to put some actual video game mechanics in their video game. Probably shouldn't hold out too much hope since they can't even remember what fucking nationality they are, but how did they do this time? Well, there's some instant death stealth sequences, some quick-time events, and you climb on ledges a bit. Hey, getting better. Oh, hang on. All the things you can climb on are coloured vibrant yellow. Ah, there it is. Truly, the Chinese Room have finally got their finger on the pulse of modern game design standards. Give them 15 more years, maybe they'll figure out combat mechanics. I'm just wheedling you winky, Chinese Room. I know walking sims can be a perfectly valid form of interactive storytelling, and they're a hell of a lot less work than wiring up a movie projector to a treadmill, so let's focus on the story. Still Walks Down Corridors centres on Kaz, a brash two-fisted Scotsman who'd probably deck the shite out of the protagonist of Dear Esther for being a moony-eyed, self-pitying cunt. He's working as an electrician on a North Sea oil rig when some rozzers show up looking to arrest him for decking the shite out of too many people on the mainland. But just as he's about to board the helicopter and begin his new life decking the shite out of kiddie fiddlers in the prison showers, a thing happens. And by that I mean the thing happens. John Carpenter's The Thing. The oil drillers hit something weird and alien under the sea that's either extremely hostile to human beings or extremely boundary-crossingly fond of them, and so the game's all psych! You thought this was a Ken Loach-style gritty realism story about the plight of the working class in contemporary Britain. It's actually a sci-fi horror game, or possibly a horror sci-fi game. In either case, don't hold out hope for the life expectancy of anyone you talk to over a phone in the next 4 hours or so. Kaz must find a way to escape the oil rig, harassed at every turn by malfunctioning technology, collapsing infrastructure, mutated friends, and very difficult to understand accents. Don't worry though, the subtitles have your back. Someone will go, "Ah, can he go that way, you wee numpty shite?" And the subtitles will say, "Oh dear, I cannot go in that direction, you small stupid person feces." I don't know why this makes me laugh so much. I mean, I have got roots up north, but surely the Scottish aren't so hard to understand you need subtitles. Just pay attention to context. If in doubt, assume they're saying whatever would be the most violently aggressive thing to say in that moment. So since the story is the important part of a Ghost Train ride, it's worth stating that the story in Still Wakes the Dialogue Writer is pretty damn solid. Over the course of about 4 or 5 hours, we get a strong sense of continuity watching the oil rig gradually fall apart as it increasingly succumbs to the alien entity, and the last survivors get whittled down. Kaz is a vocal and relatable presence behind the camera who gets more and more believably exasperated every time someone in a nice cozy safe room tells him he has to navigate a darkened pipe labyrinth and pull whatever lever will ostensibly prolong his existence this time. I like the way the prologue has us interact with everyone on the oil rig as they go about their daily lives, effectively establishing this small enclosed community where everyone's had to shower together and hold up a towel to let someone else discreetly masturbate at some point. It means every corpse we find is someone we and Kaz know, with a name and a face, so it has actual impact, in contrast to something like Doom 3, where disaster strikes and anonymous bodies pop out of every cupboard like they were stuffed in there as a prank. My criticism of the story is that a lot of what it sets up it seems to ditch unceremoniously. Characters have a tendency to drop dead at the point when the plot needs them to, and not for any adequately explored reason. Even what passes for the main villain just spontaneously dies at the end of their last chase sequence without Kaz having to do anything, unless it's because he broke wind in some unfathomably spectacular way. We also never really gain any understanding of what the alien entity is as it destroys our lives, but I'm choosing to interpret that as a rather on-the-nose metaphor for the struggle of the working poor in Thatcher's Britain. On the whole, I like Still Weeps the Dank when it's being an interactive horror movie. I like it a lot less when it's being a video game. There's a couple of moments the game slams on the brakes and refuses to let you leave the room till you turn on an electric heater and warm your hands. So I wonder if at one point this was part of some cryostasis-style body heat mechanic that got ditched and now all that remains of it are these slightly obnoxious forced tea breaks. But what I really want to complain about is the token stealth. You'll know when you get to the first stealth bit because you'll creep into a dark area where something alive and horrible is making upsetting noises, and some fucking text will pop up saying, "Remember, you can throw objects to distract monsters." And I was like, well, so much for fucking suspense, eh, game? You've just given away 2 things. 1, there's definitely a monster in the room, and 2, it's a complete fucking numpty. Not that that stopped me dying about 5 times to it, thanks to poor lighting, inadequately explained visibility mechanics, and the monster in question being such an anatomical disaster area, it was hard to tell if it was looking at me or stealing the milk out of the fridge. And besides that, gameplay-wise, it's mostly one glorified quick-time event after another. Maybe I deserve some of the blame for shit like this and Hellblade 2's sucky bum combat. Critics and players are always giving walking simulators shit for not being real games, much as I did a few minutes ago. And the end result is story-focused games that feel like they have to tokenly acknowledge standard gameplay to please everyone. But if you're just going to pop your head into a combat-stroke-stealth mechanic for 5 minutes at a time without making it a core part of the experience, then I prefer you stayed in your fucking lane. There are games with completely linear narratives that I like. Beginner's Guide, Doki Doki Literature Club, Before Your Eyes. I found that really emotionally effective, and doubt it would have been much improved by having to occasionally stop to have a shootout with drug dealers. Then again, Hellblade 2 and Still Works the Shaft are both horror games, and such things kind of need at least some threat to the player to maximize effectiveness. So I'm not even sure what I'm asking for now. I guess a greater commitment to what gameplay mechanics they do have, and another excuse to use the word numpty.
If you've been enjoying our work for the past 6 months and want to help make sure we're sustainable for the long haul, joining us over on Patreon is the best way to make that happen. You can get a ton of great perks like ad-free podcasts, some written columns from Darren and Mooney and occasionally other writers, merch discounts, monthly movie nights, voting for the Game Yahtzee reviews during the summer game drought, and more. Your support so far has allowed us to continue bringing you the content you enjoy unimpeded, and we look forward to doing so for many more years to come. We release our financials publicly to you once a quarter so you can see how the business is doing and where your money is going. You can view our latest report for quarter 2 over on Patreon, the YouTube community tab, Twitter, or our Discord. Along with all the series, streams, and podcasts you've come to love, we have a lot of exciting things on the horizon. Be on the lookout for our new entertainment podcast, The Rewind, Marty's new retro show, The Archive, our upcoming Animal Well documentary, and the next big video from Good Blood, Metal Gear Untold. All coming soon to Second Wind.